Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. Hey, everyone. Hope you're all having a great Tuesday morning so far. Today, we're going to talk about Prince Andrew a little bit more, and this time we're going to sprinkle a little bit of Ghislaine Maxwell in just for good measure. There's a new article out today from The Sun, and it has to do with how Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell supposedly have a mutual protection pact, meaning they're not going to rat on each other, I would guess. So we're going to jump into this article, and we're going to see what this article has to say about it. But I have to tell you, Prince Andrew is looking terrible right now. The optics are absolutely, positively horrible for him. He came out and said that he was willing to speak to authorities, and then all of a sudden, he's not willing to speak to authorities anymore. Why would he come out and say that? It wouldn't be that big of a thing if he didn't come out in public and say, hey, look, I'm willing to speak to the authorities. I want to help move this case forward. Whatever's required of me, I'm willing to do. Well, now it comes out that he's literally done none of that, and it's a big slap in the face to the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's reign of terror, folks. Imagine being Virginia Roberts, what she must feel, knowing that this man refuses to come forward and answer any questions, and since he's the Prince of England, he's not being compelled to do so. It's such a slap in the face to these girls, and it's a joke, and I'm glad that the English media is charging hard and covering this story the way it should be covered. So, let's jump into this article and see what they have to say. The article is by The Sun. The headline, Jail Pact, Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein pimp. No, not pimp, co-conspirator, fellow abuser, etc., etc. The word pimp means that the girls were prostitutes, and that is not the case, folks, all right? So enough with the pimp word in front of Ghislaine Maxwell's name. Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein pimp Ghislaine Maxwell have a pact to save each other from jail, pal claims. Oh, isn't that nice? These two are thick as thieves, aren't they? The Brit socialite, accused of procuring underage girls for billionaire pedophile Epstein, is said to have confided in her friend that she has an agreement with the Queen's favorite son that they won't spill the dirt on each other. Yeah, that's all fine and well. They can say that, and they can, and they can even believe that. But like I told you before, if either of these people ever get into a real interrogation room with real agents that are asking real questions, they will crack as fast could be. You mean to tell me that they'll be able to withstand the examination as well as a mafioso or as well as a drug cartel member or any of these other real criminals, hardened criminals? Absolutely not. They break hardened criminals on a regular basis. If you don't think that Ghislaine Maxwell would get broken in American custody being interrogated by investigators, you are not paying attention. The news comes a day after Prince Andrew was publicly shamed by U.S. law chief Jeffrey Berman over the Jeffrey Epstein scandal for providing zero cooperation with attempts to interview him, as well he should have. I bet you that Berman's office has had enough. They're sick of going through the back channels, getting, stonewalled, getting, no answers. So Berman probably devised the strategy. I have no evidence of this, of course. I don't know what Mr. Berman's thinking. But Berman probably devised a strategy where he was going to call him out in public and get the public involved as well to put pressure on the Duke and the royals. This is despite the Duke of York, 59, insisting in a statement last year that he was willing to help in the investigation into his former pal who killed himself last year while awaiting trial for alleged sex trafficking. Allegedly killed himself, by the way. And again, if Prince Andrew didn't come out during that interview with Emily Maitlis and go on record and say, hey, look, I'm willing to talk. I have some, if you need information from me, I'm willing to talk to you. Then I don't think there would be as big of a furor in the public as there is now, because what it does, it just makes him look like he's hiding things again, like he's lying. His whole entire story, his whole entire defense has been one gigantic shitty lie, it seems like, and this does not help his cause. But Laura Goldman, a friend of Ghislaine Maxwell and her sister Isabel, told Sun Online, Prince Andrew will never testify. The Duke of York and Ghislaine have a mutual protection pact, she told me herself after his doomed NBC Newsnight interview last year. Well, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell are so tight that she would visit him up to 4 times, sometimes at Buckingham Palace. They'd have a little picnic. They'd talk about whatever they'd talk about. And they had a mutual pact of never testifying against each other. Does that sound like innocent people to you folks? Does that sound like people who have nothing to hide? Or does that sound like people that are engaging in a criminal conspiracy to help block the investigation? That's what it sounds like to me. It doesn't sound like two people who are supposedly honorable people. I mean, one of them's a goddamn prince for F's sake. All right? Don't you think that he has a certain obligation to, come forward and do the right thing? Of course not. Of course he doesn't. That only happens in storybooks, folks, okay? When he said he would agree to be interviewed by the FBI at the time, Ghislaine said afterwards that the palace didn't want Andrew to testify as it would cheapen the British monarchy. Well, how would she know that? Was she having tea with the Queen? I mean, she was having a picnic with the Queen's favorite son right across from the Queen's window on the little lawn there. So how does she know what the Queen is thinking? Now, could she have made that up and just told that to this Goldman person? Of course Ghislaine Maxwell could have done that. She's certainly not above lying. But I tend to believe that she is a lot closer to the royals than we even know, folks. She said that it would take away the royal family's sense of mystery if Andrew faces a court hearing like any ordinary person would. Oh, breaking news. Newsflash, everybody. Prince Andrew is an ordinary person, just like you or I. He just happens to have the luxury of being born into a monarchy. All right? An outdated idea that should be done away with, by the way. He is no different than any of us. His blood, his social status, his standing should never, ever impede an investigation into his actions, especially when they're as heinous as what he is accused of. All right, Prince Andrew, you are an ordinary person. In fact, you're dumber than an ordinary person. You're stupid. You're a buffoon. You're a bumbling dullard. Answer the questions the FBI has for you. Ghislaine says that Andrew doesn't know anything about the case against Epstein anyway. She feels it would be just a stunt to satisfy the media if he was asked to testify. He doesn't know anything, huh? He doesn't know anything. Well, he is being credibly accused of being involved in sexually abusing a 17-year-old girl named Virginia Roberts, okay? Remember her name, Ms. Goldman. Ghislaine Maxwell, remember her name. Okay? Because you're not going to get away with this. You and your little mutual pack of protection, none of that matters. You are going to face justice at some point. And your buddy Prince Andrew, his time is coming as well. But this all comes back to the fact that both Prince Andrew and Ghislaine would protect each other no matter what they face. Well, what do they have to protect each other from? I thought they didn't do anything. I thought they didn't know anything about the case. What do they have to protect each other from, folks? Ask yourselves that question. Are these the actions of innocent people, or are these the actions of people that are hiding something? It looks to me like Ghislaine might be becoming even more of a target in this case now than she ever was before. Otherwise, why would they want to talk to Andrew now anyway? It must be because they want to quiz him on Ghislaine, as she's his closest link to all of this. Folks, don't you understand how absurd all of this looks on the face? So they're going hard as hell after a Prince of England, but Ghislaine Maxwell, who is basically just a regular citizen, a nobody, is not getting the hard charge that Prince Andrew is getting right now? How is that even possible? See, they have it backwards, in my opinion. Since Prince Andrew is being protected by the royals and it's harder for them to subpoena him and get him on record, what they should do is they should pivot. And they should go after Ghislaine Maxwell full bore, double barrels blazing. Get her, bring her in, get her into the interrogation room, and then break her. Break her spirit, break her will, and break her in half. Make her rat on everybody. Make her rat on every last person that was involved. Who has the keys to the kingdoms, folks? Andrew or Ghislaine? It is Ghislaine, all right? Andrew is a pawn in all of this. A sick, disgusting pawn, but a pawn nonetheless. Ghislaine Maxwell was the brains behind the whole operation, folks. I am convinced of that. Ghislaine has always denied being a pimp for Epstein. Well, yeah, you can't be a pimp because you can't pimp out trafficked women, okay? They're not prostitutes. They're women who are kidnapped and forced into sexual service. So stop saying pimped out. That's disgusting. It's offensive. Laura added, Ghislaine is doing okay. She spends her time exercising and reading. She's handling everything as well as could be expected. Oh, well, that's great. We're all really glad that Lady Ghislaine is doing great. We're glad that she's doing her exercises, and we're glad that she's handling things well. Her victims, on the other hand, have to go through life with the burden of what she did to them placed squarely on their shoulders. And Ghislaine is in better spirits, and she's doing dances, and she's... No. Absolutely not. Folks, we need the government to absolutely pivot and go after Ghislaine Maxwell, go after her as hard as they went after El Chapo. Of course she isn't enjoying high society partying like she once did, but she's in much better spirits than you might think, and she still has her sense of humor, so that keeps her going. It's real nice that she has her sense of humor, folks. She's going to need that when she's behind bars. She's going to need that when she's sharing a cell with some real hardened criminals, because that's where this is going. That's where this is going to end up. Ghislaine Maxwell is not going to get away with this. I remember her joking, don't you know I'm going to a ball tonight? So she can still laugh and make wisecracks like she always did. Well, like I said, that's going to serve her well in the maximum security prison she ends up in. Then when she gets running with the girl gangs and she's turned into somebody's toy inside prison, then, her sense of humor is definitely going to come in handy for her to deal with her own situation then. We'll see how much she likes it when somebody else is in control of her. Laura has continued to maintain contact with Ghislaine and her sister Isabel despite no confirmed public sightings of Ghislaine since last August. The daughter of the disgraced late media mogul Robert Maxwell had allegedly been seen for the last time outside a Los Angeles burger restaurant last summer, but the authenticity of the photographs taken of her there have been disputed ever since. However, Ghislaine's sister Isabel remains upset with the Maxwell family's continued fall from grace thanks to Ghislaine's connection to Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, isn't that nice? Isabel, whose son, by the way, worked for Hillary Clinton's State Department. All right? Well, you can't make this stuff up, folks. You just can't make this stuff up, can you? And you're upset that the family's fall from grace is thanks to Jeffrey Epstein? No, it's thanks to your sister. No, it's thanks to your father. Okay? Your family has never been, they haven't been to a place where they need to fall from grace in quite some time, Isabel. Okay? Your family has fallen from grace a very, very long time ago. And nothing you or anyone else in your family can do will ever pick those pieces up. You will forever be associated with the monster, Jeffrey Epstein, and even more closely associated with the other monster, your sister, Ghislaine Maxwell. Now put that in your pipe and smoke that. Laura continued, Isabel says that she's glad that the FBI are at least investigating the case now, as the truth will come out and her sister's name will eventually be cleared. She calls Epstein evil Epstein. She literally says the truth will be out. Is she high on peyote, Isabel? She must be smoking a peyote or something. She must be eating some mushrooms, because she's definitely hallucinating if she thinks that Ghislaine Maxwell's name is ever going to be cleared. That will never, ever occur, folks. Ever. Can you imagine Ghislaine Maxwell ever being invited to high society ever again? Can you imagine what the paparazzi would do with that? The field day they'd have with that? The party's over, Maxwells, all right? You've been sputtering along since your father died, all right? And now you're going to lose your last hold into the society that you so crave to be a part of. And that is a good punishment for all of them. But folks, that's only the beginning. That is only the beginning. This will not end until Ghislaine Maxwell is brought to justice. However, she remains upset that the family name is still being dragged through the mud. Normally, they would all be celebrating with the stars during the Hollywood award season, but as things stand, they're having to remain in hiding until Ghislaine can resurface with her reputation restored once again. Folks, look at how tone-deaf that statement is and how ridiculous on its face. They would be celebrating with the stars during the Hollywood award season? First of all, Nobody feels sorry for you that you're not able to celebrate during the award season, okay? Just take a look at what the victims have went through, the survivors. Look what they go through. You think they're celebrating through award season? No, you know what they'll celebrate? They'll be celebrating when you get arrested, Ghislaine Maxwell. That's what they'll be celebrating, okay? And for you to talk about how you should be they should be celebrating with their friends in Hollywood right now instead of skulking about in the dark is absolutely positively disgusting. And to those Hollywood stars that would accept Ghislaine Maxwell in their lives, well, F you too. You're no better, you're an enabler, and you're a piece of shit. But as things stand, they're still having to remain in hiding until Ghislaine can resurface with her reputation restored once again. Well, you're going to be in hiding for a very long time. Enjoy your cave. Maybe you should move over to Tora Bora in Afghanistan and live in the same cave network that Bin Laden lived in, because you're just as gross, okay? Yesterday, U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman held a dramatic press conference outside Epstein's former Manhattan mansion where he revealed that the FBI have contacted Prince Andrew's attorneys and requested an interview, but to date, Prince Andrew has provided zero cooperation. Well, I've already said what I think about that, folks. I think that his lawyers have told him not to speak at this point, and I think that Andrew knows that he's exposed here, and I think he knows that if he goes on record and speaks to the investigators that he's going to be in a whole world of hurt. The briefing sparked fury from representatives of Epstein's sex abuse victims, including Virginia Roberts, 36, who claimed she was forced to have sex with Andrew 3 times as a teenager after being trafficked to him by Epstein. How do you think she should feel? How do you think she should feel? Not only was she powerless to stop this man, obviously the FBI is powerless to compel him to speak. So if you're Virginia Roberts, how do you feel? Where do you turn? What do you do now? Well, all that she could possibly do is hope that the FBI does their job, right? That's the only thing that she can do at this point. She's brought her accusations to the FBI. Now it's up to the FBI to do the right thing and bring this man in for questioning. And if he does not want to do it willingly, then they must compel him to do so with a subpoena. The royal has denied her claims. Sigrid Macaulay, who represents Virginia Roberts, said, Prince Andrew should take most seriously the deeply held belief in this country that no one is above the law. Well, that is the truth. No one is above the law. There's no doubt about it. That's how it's supposed to be. But we all know in our 2-tier justice system here in America that there are a lot of people that are above the law, and then there's the rest of us. Prince Andrew's continued refusal to cooperate with the authorities after freely acknowledging that he would be prepared to answer inquiries raises even more questions about the role he played in the international sex trafficking ring Jeffrey Epstein and others operated, and others meaning Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't know why they don't throw that in there, but Ghislaine Maxwell was the brains of the operation. She was the one that set all of this into motion, folks. Jack Corolla, another lawyer representing the mum of 3, told The Sun last night, it is obvious that Prince Andrew is persisting in a pattern of non-cooperation which has now been going on for years. I would certainly believe that he should recognize his moral obligation to participate in the search for the truth. Now remember, folks, this is a man who felt obligated to hop on a plane, fly over the Atlantic, come to New York, and break up with Jeffrey Epstein. He had so much honor that he flew across the ocean, went and met with a convicted pedophile, stayed with him for a few days just to break up with him. But he doesn't have the moral compass to speak with the FBI about what happened to Virginia Roberts and what he knows about the other girls? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's not a prince, folks. That's a scumbag. With all that the victims of Jeffrey Epstein have been through over so many years, I would say that they expected nothing different. That's such a sad statement on its face, and it just goes to show you the absolute and utter disrespect that these girls have been shown by the government, by the media, by the prosecutors, by everybody involved. And I'll tell you what, folks, that party's over, especially here on this podcast and with other content creators. Nobody ever stepped up and filled the void to defend these women. Well, that party's over. You're not going to find people that are coming out to defend Prince Andrew at this point. Very few. You're not going to find anyone defending Ghislaine Maxwell. The public is on the side of the victims, and the public demands movement in this case. Prince Andrew and Prince Charles representatives have been approached by Sun Online but have declined to comment. Ghislaine Maxwell's legal representatives have been approached but have also declined to comment. Just 2 days ago, Prince Andrew's former protection officer, Paul Page, told how Ghislaine Maxwell visited Prince Andrew up to 4 times a day at Buckingham Palace and enjoyed picnics with him on the grounds. Mr. Page said that he was first made aware of Ghislaine Maxwell and Prince Andrew's friendship in 2001. So there you have it, folks. There you have it. Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell are protecting each other from the scrutiny of the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. This is all according to Ghislaine Maxwell's friend Laura Goldman. So folks, look, we understand what's going on here. We understand that they're posturing, but we also understand that we're finally seeing some movement from law enforcement. For Berman to come out and make the statement that he did in front of the whole entire world about Prince Andrew not being cooperative, I think it's a big step in the right direction. But it's not enough. Andrew must speak to investigators, either willingly or he must be compelled via subpoena. There is no middle ground here, folks. None. All right, everybody. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail. Let's try that again. BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. See, sometimes I get distracted with thoughts while I'm trying to say something, and it's what happens when your mind moves 5 million miles per minute. All right, everybody. So I'll be back later on tonight with the Daily Drop. And we'll do it all over again since we had so much fun this time. If you'd like to help support the podcast, you can do that by clicking on the GoFundMe link inside of the description box. All right, everybody, I'll talk to you all later.